Good morning, friends. Thanks for being here this morning with Journey Home Meditation for the morning sit. I feel good. I feel good to be here. I'm happy to be here. All right. Let's just get settled in for a second. I hope your week is going really well. I hope you're able to be present with everything that's happening in your life in a way that doesn't feel overwhelming or dissociated, right? Sometimes I think that I'm curious about which one is less desirable. I don't know how else to say that. Because I think about the times in my life when I've been in a lot of pain and how much of that time I spent just wanting to not be in pain. But then I also think about those periods in my life when I feel very numb, like my body is a balloon and nothing quite touches me, right? Just feel numb to the world. Spent a lot of money in my life trying to achieve that very thing. And there's a lot of people who do. A lot of time and energy, and made a lot of sacrifice to achieve that sensation of feeling nothing. But then once you're there, it can actually be quite terrifying. That could be a terrifying place to be in. I think this is one of the reasons that pain can be so isolating for us, because our response to pain is often the attempt to be numb. And whether that's numbing ourselves with drugs or alcohol or food or substance or of any sort, sex, getting to that place where we don't feel anything, exhaustion. Some of us overwork and overdo it, and our brains keep us up all night long, and we just start functioning with this exhaustion as a way of being. And I think that part of that for me is the same mechanisms at play, right? I'm trying to escape my body, escape the pain in my mind, my emotional pain, my psychological pain. And so I work myself into exhaustion. But I think that the reason that pain can become so isolating is because we start to immediately shut down our ability to take anything else on, take more in. It feels like scarcity. Pain can feel like scarcity. I don't have enough energy for this. I don't have enough patience for this. I just don't have enough bandwidth, whatever the metaphor needs to be. I don't have enough spoons. Some people say I never quite understood why that was the metaphor, but I've read it and I mean I get it, but I just didn't know where that came from. Maybe someone could enlighten me on who it was that introduced the spoon theory. But whatever it is, that's all metaphors, right? These are all metaphors for understanding our capacity. And pain takes up a lot of space in the room. Pain takes up a lot of space. A really good example of that, I think, is a splinter, right? The tiniest little sliver of, wood or metal or glass, the tiniest little thing, so small that your fingers can barely grasp it. You need to have tweezers or something, uh, more precise to even get a hold of this thing. It's so small, can bring you to a total halt, complete stop. That little tiny splinter in your foot or your hand can stop, a 200 plus pound being from moving around on the planet. It's amazing because that little thing, that little incident that's occurring, um, can bring a level of pain and a level of resistance to pain that takes over all of our thought, all of our ability to function in that moment. Pain takes up a lot of space in the room. And when we have something that takes up that much space for us, takes up that much of our thoughts, that much of our emotions, that much of our physical sensations, it can already begin to immediately feel like we have scarcity. I'm not going to have enough left for my family, for my friends, for my job, for my boss, for my clients, for my participants, whatever it is we're doing. I'm not going to have enough to offer because of all of this pain that's taking up so much. And so scarcity then becomes the fear, and that leads us into isolation. And then that isolation couples itself with these, recurring thoughts that are then fed evidence to become belief, right? Thought with evidence equals belief. And that evidence doesn't even have to be real. It can just be whatever it is that suits our bias. When we are informing a belief, we will only grasp at the things that are beneficial to that bias. So these thoughts of scarcity and isolation then become, I'm not like anybody else. That's the belief. No one else gets me. No one wants to be around this. No one else has time for this. No one else has space for this. If this pain is so big in my body that I don't have time, energy, and space for it, I don't have the ability to love it, then clearly nobody else in the world does or should have time, space, energy, or love for it. And then we reinform that belief through practices of self-isolation. No, I'm not suggesting that this happens when we get a splinter. The splinter is just an example of how something very small can be so large. Size is not significance. These are different things. And so the natural, or I don't know if it's natural, but our go-to state, my go-to state, to speak completely with ownership, my go-to state throughout my life has been, at a certain point, it has been to stop the pain, to kill the pain, to numb the pain, to become numb. And then that let me at least be able to mask myself when I'm in social situations. But then you get numb. And when you're numb, when you find that you're uncontrollably numb, when you've dissociated, it can be quite terrifying. And I think this is why I have such an insistence in myself upon practicing body awareness, trying more and more to be aware of the sensations of my body, my physical body, when connected to emotional or psychological experiences. I want to see where I feel this experience in my body, and the tiniest thing or the biggest feeling, either one. But I'm constantly checking in with myself. And this is why the breath practices really roped me in. That method really caught me, right? That was the fishing net that grabbed me was breathing techniques. Learning how to use my breath, this thing that I'm going to do in and out every day for the rest of my life, since the beginning of my life. I can utilize that inherent practice as a tool to bring my awareness into my physical body to continue to feel. And then when you can couple that practice with the release of judgment, if I'm practicing non-judgment and practicing non-stealing, then I can, and I am learning to sit with whatever the feeling is in my body. And I don't always have to react. I don't always have to fix it. I don't always have to make the phone call to change somebody's mind because they just don't think about me the way that I need them to think about me. And this has been a deal in my life. This has been something that I've had to deal with. I don't know where it came from, but I know it's there. I know that when I get the thought or have information that somebody is thinking ill of me, it consumes my mind out of fear that I'm being rejected, that I'm going to be rejected. And so then it becomes a need for me to connect with that person and convince them that I'm okay. I don't know. I haven't actually figured out exactly what it is I'm trying to do. I just know that the fear that's motivating me comes from that place of scarcity, that fear of isolation. And when that comes from a physical feeling in my body, I hear a thought, I hear an idea, and my physical body reacts. And when I am dissociated from my body, which I have learned to do very well in my life to be able to avoid feelings of pain or discomfort or anxiety as a social mask mostly, but also as a survival technique. Then my physical body has a feeling, and I will react to that feeling whether or not I'm aware of that feeling. So the practice of awareness of the body's sensations, the practice of moving through and beyond numbness into the subtle presence of the body is one that's really helping to bring me into a greater awareness of my effect on the world as well. So if you have any experience with this, I'm not sure if the chat feature is working for you all. I'm not really able to see chats right now in this program. I need to get something fixed here. I'm not sure what it is. But if you're able to chat and communicate, share if that's something that you experience, something that you deal with. A practice of dissociating from the body to avoid anxiety, discomfort, pain, fear, and scarcity. And yeah, I think that when we connect on these, what I think are probably universal experiences, we begin to have the ability to release our judgments of them, because there's no point in judging what is ubiquitous. There's no point in it. It's like judging the weather. I'm not going to stand in the rain and judge being wet. I mean, you're getting wet too. We're all getting wet. We're all standing in the rain. But we do have a sense somehow that we are maybe weird or different or an anomaly when it comes to our psychological and emotional experiences or our physical experiences, as if we may be the only one in the room who has these thoughts, these fears, whatever it may be. I can very nearly assure anyone that you are not the only one to have those thoughts, fears, or feelings. But we won't know that until we know that. And that comes from experience, and that comes from awareness. So perhaps we could just take a few moments together today to start bringing some awareness into our body's experience right now, in this moment. So just take a few moments to let your mind settle. And you can start with the feeling of your eyelids closing over your eyes if you have the ability to close your eyes right now. Feel the weight of your cheeks on your face as you begin to relax the face. Feel the sensation of your forehead relaxing as you release the tension. If you're seated in a chair, as I am, you could have your feet flat to the floor and check in on your lower back. We tend to sit in ways that compress our lower back. And for this practice, we want to try to adjust our bodies just slightly so that we can relieve that pressure, find balance in our body, and facilitate breath. Feel that shift as you move into your meditation posture, whatever that may look like for you. Breathing in through the nose, expanding the belly, welcoming awareness. And release. If you have your eyes open, just give a soft gaze a few feet in front of the body. And really bring your awareness to the sensations of your body as you breathe in and out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Begin to let your shoulders completely relax and bring your shoulder blades together just slightly in the back to open the chest and the heart. Become fully present with the feelings of the body as you do this. Where are you holding tension? And what does that tension feel like? What are the sensations of the body? Now that we're starting to get a more clear awareness of what our body is feeling, check in with your emotional body and your thought body, and Start drawing connections between the physical sensations, the emotional feelings, and the thoughts, and see if you can find where they are feeding one another, where they are informing one another, and find if there's any loops, drawing the connections between the three just to understand what is driving your unconscious intention right now. Witness yourself as you begin to open up these places of feeling, these sensations. You may have tears, you may have a smile stretch across your face. You may feel a dark, cool cloud begin to come over the top of your body. Whatever it is you're beginning to feel, just recognize it. This feeling is familiar because this is you, your body, your mind, your emotions. These are your teachers, and they're with you always. So embrace what is happening right now. You might begin to notice as you start to become more familiar with your body's feelings and your emotional feelings and your thoughts, that the resentments you may have towards another, the feelings of judgment, those might begin to fade away. As you become more relaxed with yourself and you bring this familiar relationship into the forefront, this relationship with your body, with your mind, with your emotions, you may start to understand a little more that this isn't about them. It was never really about them. These were your body, your mind, and your emotions communicating an experience to you. This doesn't absolve someone of wrongdoings. This is simply about how we relate to ourselves. continue this practice as long as you'd like. Being with the breath, being with the body, being in the heart, and with the thoughts. Bringing non-judgment into your relationship with your life, even if just for a moment, and see how that will ripple outward from you. And as we become aware of the diminishing significance of our resentments towards another, then we can also understand that when one has a resentment towards us, it's not my business. It's not my thing to change. It's not a broken thing that I need to fix. It is their experience, and it's not mine. It's not mine. And we can release it. So thank you for being here this morning. May these practices help you to fall deeper and deeper in love with your life every day. And that's a good thing. I mean, there is no good and bad, of course, but that's a good thing. If you want to reach out, it's journeyhomemeditation@gmail.com. My name is Michael. Thanks for joining me this morning. Hariom.